off right, Wolf Nation. It's time to wake up, show up. First you pray up, then you coffee up. Grab your Wolf Nation coffee and tune into the Cornbread Man Morning Show at 6 a.m. EST. Don't you dare miss it.
You're not going to want to miss what we're cooking up this month. Make sure you tune in every single Saturday morning, live right here from Wolf Nation Studio. Keep your eyes peeled for the Cornbread Man and Biscuit Boy. They're bringing the heat every week.
Stay low. Don't make a sound. He's getting closer. Are you kidding me? Right now?
I hear someone up there. Come out with your hands up. Where y'all headed tonight? None of your business. We're pulling cars over to check for Biscuit Boy.
Do you see him?
What you have to say about this?
The wolf knows.
Wolf Nation coffee. Right on!
We must find Biscuit Boy before the Lake Winnie local law enforcement officers do. I know you guys can smell his cigar. Let's go!
Hey everyone, let's kick off this morning right, yeah? The Cornbread Man Morning Show drops weekdays, 6 a.m. EST, right here with me, your host. Get up, pray up, coffee up. Let's go.
All right, and let's go. Yes, it is Tuesday. Glad to be here, and we are thankful for you. You are awesome. You are what makes it the right thing to do every morning is to get up and join me here on the program. We appreciate you very much. Happy Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. A lot of people will be talking about that today. That'll be the news of the day for a lot of folks, getting out and having some lunchtime things, maybe other things they're doing for Cinco. I don't know that I've ever really did anything for that. But in 1862, Mexican troops led by Zaragoza defeated the French army at the Battle of Pueblo, a key moment in Mexican history in 1862 on Cinco de Mayo. In 1978, which I was alive then, not in 1862, the first spam email was sent. The first spam email was sent in 1978. I did not have email in 1978, but those spammers, they were always out there. In 1926, on this date, Britain's general strike began. It was quickly defeated, showcasing the role of volunteers in strategic planning by Winston Churchill. Pardon me. Famous birthdays today. Ralph Waldo Emerson in 1803 was born this day. George Clooney, 1961, same year as my wife. Some fun facts. The first celebration of Memorial Day in the United States took place in Waterloo, New York, highlighting the tradition of honoring fallen soldiers. And on this day, Cy Young pitched the first perfect game in the modern era of baseball, marking, of course, a historic sports achievement. But Cinco de Mayo, so that really began kind of yesterday as it piles into today. But nonetheless, interesting facts there I wanted to share this morning. Our small town shout out is a little place called Horse Cave, Kentucky. Horse Cave, Kentucky. Population 2221. It sits atop the Hidden River Cave, the world's longest underground suspension bridge that provides access to Sunset Dome. Some of you hikers, I'm sure, have been there. The cave's entrance is located directly off Main Street, a National Register of Commercial Places Historic District. Even though through the American Cave Museum, or enter through the American Cave Museum, where you can learn the story of the cave's recovery, its geology, and history of cave wars. Now, that would be a nice reality show. Cave wars. I could dig it. Pet kangaroos at Kentucky Down Under Adventure Zoo and feed camels at Dutch Country Safari Park. Spot horse-drawn buggies clip-clopping along rural roads where a fast-growing Amish community thrives. Munch on melt-in-your-mouth fried pies at Farm World's restaurant and bakery, and crawl into Conestoga wagon or climbing to the treetops for cozy overnights in a treehouse at Horse Cave, KOA holiday. All right. I don't think we've ever covered Horse Cave, Kentucky. Let's back up a little bit. I jumped ahead just a bit. That's okay. We can do that. Let's get our scripture of the day. Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 10. For this day is holy unto our Lord. Neither be ye sorry, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. Amen and amen. From Nehemiah. What a great book, the book of Nehemiah. Has so many twists and turns. I love the way it starts out. It's a missionary type book. Just deals with a lot of mission things, and I really like that. Good morning to you out there, wherever you are coming from, watchmen. I may have watchmen. I may have said from. I didn't mean to say it if I did. You can thank Al Gore for that. And good morning to you today on this Tuesday. Tomorrow's my birthday. I don't run from them. I'm glad to have one if it gets here. Thankful for it. I'm going to take my son out for breakfast. I'm taking the day off of work. I'll be here in the morning. I'm going to take my son out for a breakfast before he travels out to take the youngins to something in Nashville. And we're going to spend a little time together, with his mom passing and everything. And just want to, some dad time, spend some time there with him. He's just something we're going to do. I don't know if anybody else is going, but I know me and him are going out in the morning. I told him I'd buy him one of those, what is it? The Country Boy breakfast at Cracker Barrel. He'll be all over that. If I can get him up for breakfast, he may be a lunchtime guy. My son is off all week, but he sleeps. He's a night shift guy. So it's hard for him to be up early unless he's worked all night. So when he's off, he stays up all night. So, but food might get him moving. I don't know. It may end up being a lunch thing. The next day, back at work, some friends have already told me they're taking me to, there's a place that's around here that just has the greatest brisket sandwich you ever put in your mouth. And I'm not exaggerating. It is well known around here, and everybody that goes says they just love it. You walk up there and watch them cut yours. It's just, the juices are just flowing out of the meat. Oh my gosh. It's awesome. I don't even need the sides. Honestly, I don't. I just want the sandwich. And some folks are taking me there, and that's exciting. I appreciate them being very kind and honoring me on the birthday. And, passing for my wife. It's nice to have some folks in the house. Just, you want to have people that, talking to you. You don't want to be thinking too much on your own. It's not a good place to be. Well, Rudy Giuliani has made a miraculous, I should say, recovery. He was on a ventilator at one point, obviously, and he's off of that now, and he's expected to make a full recovery. He's a lot better. So good news. Prayers answered. Don't want to see anybody going down like that, no matter what people think about different people. Because whenever you mention a name, there's always somebody that loves them and somebody could care less and somebody hates them. It's just the way the world goes. But I was glad to hear that. And so shout out to him this morning. He's, everybody wants, there are some knuckleheads that want to end their life early. I do not. I want every day that the Lord wants to give me. And of course, being with him will be the greatest. But, there are things to, to be here for. And part of, doing God's work is a big part of that. So he has work for us all to do. That, in fact, they did last rites over him, it's my understanding. He was just about, they were ready to give up on him. So, but at his age and with the lung problems, and you would, that's not surprising, but he was trending in a bad way. And that happens, don't it? You get somebody that goes in the hospital and the next thing you know, it just goes south. The organs start shutting down and, within hours, somebody's gone. And then you have those that make that recovery. It's a mystery to us sometimes. We pray for those things. We don't understand it all. The why this person versus that person. We just got to trust God. It's really difficult. In the news, there's been a lot of talk about Ron DeSantis making or being a part of the cabinet. He's out for a cabinet position. He is definitely wanting to run again. A lot of people are looking at him in 2028. So will he get the endorsement of Trump, around at least a cabinet position, which would be something that would help build his, help with his MAGA or crowd or whatever, whoever you want to say, conservatives that were not for him. It's going to be interesting to see who wins out, because he's definitely going to make the move. And then J.D. Vance, obviously, and there'll be others. I wouldn't count Rubio out either in that crowd. But, he's out of a job. I mean, he is at the end of the year. He will be forbidden from running again. There are 36 governors in the nation, I believe it is, that are termed out. We just need senators to be done like that. I support that. You don't, come do the work and then move on. He says that I'm in my mid-40s for 2028, maybe beyond that. I think there's a lot of runway. DeSantis said Monday when asked if he would run for president. A lot of runway, he says. He said, who knows? Like, you never know. So when they asked him about that, who took a state that had more Democrats than Republicans by 300,000 when he got elected in 2018 and now has 1.5 million more Republicans, DeSantis asked, referring to himself, who had a state that had $1 trillion economy and now has a 1.8 trillion, who has a state that has some school choice, now universal, a 50-year low in crime rate. So you've got a good story to tell. A Republican insider told the New York Post, Florida governor, that it's not been a secret he's running. I think DeSantis totally thinks he can win, said a GOP operative who frequently is in Florida. He'd be top 2 in Iowa for sure. While Trump himself seems to have moved past the bad blood of the 24 campaign, from which DeSantis withdrew following a distant second place finish in the Iowa caucuses, some of his allies would welcome a chance to take down his fellow Floridian again. Team Trump is chopping at the bit to destroy DeSantis one more time, a longtime Trump operative told the Post. Politics is such a dirty business, right? When DeSantis launched his first campaign for the White House 3 years ago this month, he was viewed as a rising star. Boy, the media was all over him. It's true. I mean, they just love the guy, who could redirect Trump's disruptive populism into an even-keeled agenda for low tax, low regulation, business stewardship, coupled with conservative social policies. Over the past year, DeSantis has been busy repairing his relationship with the president, even considered to be a possible cabinet pick next year when he departs Tallahassee. His lane is most competent and effective governor in our nation's history who consistently delivers on every promise he makes, said DeSantis. Former national spokesman Christina Pushaw, who described the governor as having significant potential appeal to independents. The GOP operative frequently in Florida agreed that a lot of people like DeSantis. This is a guy that I believe sees there's a window to run for president. You don't know how long it stays open, and once it's closed, that's it, the person said, a.k.a. Hillary Clinton, I would think. I think that window is forever closed for her. I remember back in that, though, at primary, there was a lot of fanfare about DeSantis and, this seemingly, things he had done, this family and background he had and everything else. But I will say this, it reminds me a little bit of Fred Thompson. A lot of people liked Fred Thompson, and he became the actor, but a lot of people liked him from Tennessee. He was flat. He was flat in debates, very flat. And the early debates for DeSantis were horrible. There were people that attended them, and let's just say there was more food than people at some of them. He didn't do well in the state of Georgia. I remember that well. And I don't think that I don't think that he will. He's not going to change that. I think somebody's going to waste a lot of money on DeSantis. Could he possibly be on a ticket? Maybe, but I've heard that before. I don't think it would happen. Watchman says DeSantis is anti-free speech. I don't think I just don't think this is going to get traction. There's a lot of people promoting him up for what he did in Florida. I just don't think he translates across the nation. I could be wrong, but it's not like, again, it's like, what was the guy that ran? Oh my goodness, and I'll forget his name, from Texas. Remember the guy, and he flubbed his speech and he didn't remember. And I remember I can't remember. Texans and oil men in Texas generally were thought to do good. He fell flatter than a fritter out there, or on the debate stage. DeSantis just comes across stiff. He doesn't have any charisma. He talks a big game. Now he likes to bellow, and like in that what we just read, but he just doesn't have that. He doesn't come across right. And I don't think you can change that. Some people can reinvent themselves as they age. I just think he comes across as a little bit. I don't know how to describe. I mean, some people would describe him, like the Ken doll hair, and a little bit too perfect family look. I don't know. It just doesn't come across well. I don't know how to describe it other than that. Proof is in the pudding. I mean, he just did not trend well. And it said, even though then he was a distant second at the Iowa caucuses, and if you don't do well there, your funding is going to start drying up. People are just not going to hitch their wagon to you. And not that J.D. Vance is a lot better, but he is a little better than DeSantis. I don't think, Vance has had DeSantis has had the opportunity for experience at the state level, where J.D. Vance is now getting the opportunity for experience at the vice president level. And that can be a benefit for him. I think it is. And the president has pushed him out there enough, but he also comes with some landmines, I believe, as well. Not that, I mean, I think conservatives are ready, would back him. I mean, we can't, I'm not saying independents would flock to him, but although I think they would versus whoever is running, but he can have his moments as well. I think he scored some points the way he addressed Zelensky with a lot of conservatives. He's getting a little cred going over if they can get some sort of a deal in the Strait and get all that, then he would gain some level of push there. And you're always trying to build your resume. Absolutely. Interesting discussion this morning. We say way early, but before you know it, that will be going on. Ron flew to Israel with Randy Fine to sign HB 269 that bans handing out flyers that criticize Jews with a 5-year prison sentence. And for my record, and I'm a pro-Israel guy. I love reaching out. I have Jewish friends, and I don't like everything that any government does. But I will say this: I don't like sometimes. And again, there are those who have done horrible things towards them and towards all people. We have to be careful with, and I've always said, with hate laws and hate crime laws and all that, those things are being used to shut down people's free speech, and I'll agree with that. Not just specifically to them, although that does a tender spot, and there's a lot of push for that in some of the states. But it isn't just that alone. You can be in trouble now for speaking against other things too, and I know that, and you would too from being right here in Georgia. There are zones that they create where you can't say anything about. You can't wear, at times you can't wear a scripture shirt. They'll arrest you, and that's right here in Georgia. So I know some people that have tried that at certain parades, we'll say, and they arrest them, and they're very ugly about it. So free speech has been under attack for a lot of reasons across the nation. College campuses and other things were not just things they tried to pass or did pass, but just bullying, completely supported by the administration or the governments of certain areas, and that needs to stop. I think I watch these auditors all the time, and sometimes I really don't. I suppose in some way they serve a purpose, but to me they look for the confrontation with the way they talk. I would never go out and talk to people the way they did. I honestly don't think that any of them. There may be one or two. I don't think that any of them really care two sticks about free speech or where I can stand in video and all that. I think they're just trying to build content, and they love the confrontation. You can tell by the way they talk. There's a couple of them that are a lot better than others. Most of them are horrible to me. And just because you can say certain things, they rip people, officers, and all that. They have a right to stand there. There has been some that I found that I like that. I like what they're doing. But they've been doing it for a lot longer. They've been doing it for a while. But it has become the thing of the moment. Everybody now got his little video tree out there. And, and I mean, come on. They go to specific Freeman is a good auditor. There are some, I like them. And I think they're very consistent. I think they do it, and they really are. I believe in my heart, I think they're really trying to keep, our rights. And you should videotape that. But there are some, they're just idiots. I mean, you can tell by the way they act. So, but what I will say is this, we have to continue to have to fight against where there are, rights being stripped, where you can't, say anything, or they're trying to enforce rules and laws that are not on the books. But I do watch them, and I just try to grade them, and I watch them for several minutes. I don't just take a little clip. I try to watch the totality of an interaction. And yes, there are people that act stupid. Sometimes that's officers. I've seen some that handled it very well. I think their gig's about to be up. I'll say that. There'll still be a need for it somewhere in some places. But I think the police have now developed, and the community at large, as they see these videos, more and more people are just going to get, it's an audit. Most of them are just trying to get content. And I've seen some law enforcement have handled that so very well. They get on. In fact, sometimes now in the audit, when they call in, they don't even show up. They're like, if he's standing on the sidewalk, he has the right, so it is effective at that point. They're going to start losing good video because as more and more people just realize they can't. There's always going to be that Bubba or somebody that, or a socialist, communist / whatever, that will go up and attack an altar. So there's still going to be those that get, you say the Tyrant Terminator is pretty good. I don't know that I've seen that one, the Tyrant Terminator. But yes, I'll agree that we need some of that. You need people out there that are testing those waters. But I would hope that some of the ones that are doing it will be a little more professional about how they're doing it. I don't like, even though it's free speech, I don't like the way they address some of these people. And you know what? It's obvious they are pushing for some sort of altercation so that they can film. Some of them want to be arrested, and they're threatening lawsuit. But some of them are crossing over in boundaries that are not their rights, and they're stupid. And I think they're realizing. I think it's drying up, and you do have to stay calm and cool. And there's one guy. There's one of them in. I will say he's up in the East Coast, up all the way up and down. He goes to places like he goes into places that some of these. I mean, there's like the guy that stands in front of the bank or whatever. There's a guy that they do that, or something they know is going to be controversial. This guy actually goes into places where it's pretty intense, or some of them I've seen where they'll go into like a place where they've even posted signs which are not legal that says you can't film here, or they try to bum rush them out of a place that's that's considered public. There is a problem with Americans not knowing what is public and private, and it's really sad. I thought I was running into an auditor the other day. They ended up being really nice, and we ended up having a good interaction. But the place I was doing security is private, not public. The sidewalk is public. They were filming, but they weren't filming people or even the store, people coming out. They were filming airplanes taking off and landing, which is fine, but it's not something that we want people like that to move along, because you allow one, you're going to have 10, and next thing you know, you've just got all this stuff going on. It's private property. So we had a good interaction, but the guy that I was talking to absolutely did not understand the concept of public versus private property. And he was trying to claim to me that the company that I was representing he said, "Are you telling me that one guy owns all the property across the United States?" I said, "Well, no, it's a corporation. It's a board with a CEO that runs it. But even if it was one man, it's his property. It's private. It is not government funded. It is not, doesn't belong to the government. It's not taxpayer, purchased property. This is a company, and they own the property." And I don't know that he ever truly understood that. He's a younger guy, but not like 19 or 20. He was probably closer to, I'd say, upper 20s, maybe 30. I don't know if he was 30 yet. He absolutely had no idea of public versus private, and he tried to throw all the roadblocks up. We ended up having a nice. I mean, there's no way for him to win, and I didn't want it to be bad. I told him, "Hey, I do content myself, and I like what you're doing. Give me your address, and I've got it in my car. I want to look his stuff up." And I think it actually goes under her name, his girlfriend or wife or whatever she was that was there. But they told me they've been doing it about 4 months. And, and I had been out of work because of my wife. I had not been there in a bit. And, he was, "Well, I ain't seen you." And I said, "Well, I've been out." And he said, "Well, nobody said nothing for a month. What about those other guys?" I said, "They're not doing their job." And he's kind of laughed like, "What?" I said, "Well, I'm not," I said, "They're great guys." But I said, "Honestly, they either didn't see you or they don't care. They just didn't feel like it was something they should do. But we're supposed to do that, So we ended up having a great ending to that. And I was glad because I was thinking, "Oh no, here it comes." When they had the tripod out and everything else, I've had everything come my way. But I do support, to get back to the original conversation, I do support what some of these do. And I think it's good that it's videotaped. The officers have their cameras on. You get a good view of this back and forth. And some of them are attacked and threatened and pushed and everything else. There's some idiots out there. And I think they kind of know where they can go to get some of that. I mean, if you're going to do it, you want to get what you get pretty quick. So, but I mean, I'll give them this. They're out there every day. It takes some kind of something. You got to be thick skinned to do something like that. But it is good they test rights. But we are losing free speech, and we're losing free speech such in places like in front of abortion centers and things like that. Some of those things that the Biden administration brought to bear are damaging, very damaging to free speech for sure. And sorry, my computer is just acting up. I didn't have it set right. That's my fault. I'm not going to blame the computer. I'll blame me. James Freeman is my favorite. I think I've seen James Freeman. I think I have seen that one. But and thank you for the follow there. Are you really awake? I think it's what it said. Are you really awake? I think that's what it said. My eyes are playing tricks on me today. But anyway, I do support it because I want to see. I just don't like the idiots. I mean, and anything I do, I mean, it's like, when I went, and I listen, sometimes you're in the wrong and you don't even know you're in the wrong. One time, good morning, Daryl. One time I was in Atlanta and I went down to, I was doing a missions outreach, and I've shared this story. I won't go into the whole thing, but I took a group of youth with some adults from a church, and we had arranged a early morning distribution in a certain area. It was a Jewish area with many other people. It's a melting pot. We were going to be giving out the gospel in a certain area on the street, on the sidewalk, and knocking on doors for those communities that didn't, that said that they were going to be there. Yeah, there's definitely some agitators that do it for clicks. Good morning, brother there from Twitch. But anyway, we went down to Centennial Park. I felt like we should go. The morning distribution, it was like there was not a lot of people. It was a Saturday, and we'd done a lot of prep work on this, but for that Saturday, it just seemed like it was really dried up. And so anyway, I took this group and we covered all the exits at Centennial Park, and we're giving out the gospel. One of the girls actually saved a little kid's life because it went to run out in the street, in a busy street. A parent of some tourist wasn't paying attention, and they grabbed the child before it got run over. I mean, for nothing else, we were there for that, but we gave out the gospel. And so anyway, we'd been there for a good hour. I mean, we had given out thousands of tracts. If you've ever been to Centennial Park, people are just coming from every which way. Well, finally, a security guy walked up to me and he says, I think you're the leader of this, are you not? I said, I am. And he said, listen, man, I've been watching you for an hour. We got cameras everywhere, microphones. We know what you're doing. He whispers like, listen, man, I'm a Christian. He goes, but he said, okay, yeah, Ken Dizzy, email me and we'll talk. But he said, I got to shut this down. You're breaking the rules here. We have a rule that you have to, and I get it, that you have to be on the list approved to do this. He said, I have let it go for an hour, but I have a responsibility. I'm the leader of the security team here. And now they're looking at me like, are you going to enforce this? He said, I've played dumb as long as I can. I said, hey, we're not here. And this is what I said. I said, yes, sir. That's what I said. And I, as from brother to brother, as a Christian, I said, thank you. Thank you for the time you gave us. And in that 1 hour, this youth team saved a life, had impacted. They had conversations with people. They'd been praying with people. In 1 hour, they had met thousands of people. That's how busy it is. And it was so crazy. And there was a lot. There's always things going on downtown. And the foot traffic is amazing. Now, maybe we could have stood outside on the sidewalk. It would have been fine. But we were inside. We were actually at the gate, but we were more so on the inside. And anyway, we were in the wrong. Although we're in the right in giving out the gospel, we didn't have the permission to be there. And, I told the guys, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I should have thought of that. I said, I just felt like God placed it in my heart to do it. And he goes, hey, man, I'm glad you came. And, that's what I mean by this. When these auditors approach, you don't have to have, you just don't have to have the interactions that some of them have. You don't have to be that jerk like that. But anyway, I spent a little longer on that than I wanted. But anyway, it's it's just one of those things that I can't help but watch this. It's like a car wreck. You look, what happened, and sometimes those audit videos, the auditor videos we're talking about, it is a real car wreck, a train wreck, even so. There's an article here from Owen Anderson. This is from the Blaze. I thought it was some really good information, just short as we think about, and it's very out front, and I would agree with it. Excuse me. College professors want your child's soul. Here's how you can stop them. At the school, as this school year comes to an end, I hear parents talking about, this is from Owen Anderson, I hear parents talking about what university their children got into and how excited the family is about this next phase of life. As a university professor, I relate to this wholeheartedly. Raising your children to finish high school and go to the university is one of the biggest duties Christian parents will accomplish. But there is a question Christian parents almost never ask. And the question is, why do we send our children into institutions that will work against the very faith we spent 18 years trying to instill? You will routinely, if I can speak this morning, find professors lambasting Christianity in their classes as an oppressive colonizer, religion that must be deconstructed. No one says it in that way, of course. Instead, the conversation sounds something like this. We found a good campus. There's even a strong Christian student group. Now, let me say plainly, these groups can be wonderful. I thank God for them, but pause for a moment and consider what that assumption reveals. You are already expecting that Christian community will exist outside the mission of the university. You are hoping your child will find a refuge within an otherwise hostile environment. In other words, you are not sending your child into a place that reinforces truth, but into a storm and praying they find a bunker. And you are probably paying tens of thousands of dollars to do it. That should trouble us more than it does, because it wasn't always this way. Institutions, as we know, like Princeton and Harvard and Yale, were not founded as neutral arenas of inquiry. They were explicitly Christian. Their purpose was to cultivate piety, train ministers, and teach the knowledge of God to all students. Universities have always had a vision of truth. The only difference now is that the vision has changed. Today's university is not neutral. It is structured around a set of ideas that systematically undermine Christianity while presenting themselves as morally superior. Take the influence of Michael Foucault. Students are taught often implicitly that truth is not something discovered, but constructed. Knowledge is tied to power. What earlier generations called truth, we are told, is really just perspective of those who happen to win. So I think that, I'm going to read the whole thing, but I think that's good for parents to consider. And I've heard those very things. Yeah, we've checked out the university, and I've heard something similar to that. They've got some an area. There's a Christian small community, but I knew a lady one time years ago who experienced this. She'd raised her family in church. I think the dad had passed away. Sons were raised in church. Oldest son went to college. He was going to church every week, a believer and all that. By the time he came home after 4 years, he didn't even believe there was a God. And she said, I sent my son. He came home a totally different person. He wouldn't even have anything to do with his own mother. He pretty much told her, hollered at her that she had lied to him and told him false things growing up, and that she was a horrible mother, pretty much horrible. And so she was not going to let that happen with a second child. Watchman says, First Amendment is your permission. During the Olympics, we handed out gospel tracts. Cops didn't say nothing, and that's good. Sometimes they will turn the other way, and our kids, a few of them went in a community where it was stated you're not to have anybody come in that community. They did it, but because it was youth, the people in that community just didn't. I mean, they weren't even supposed to go in the house. They brought them in for milk and cookies and all this stuff, and so in that way, they were effective that way. I would have never got away with that. And certainly, we're going to give the gospel wherever we go, but it was a formulated team. I'm sure I wouldn't have been approved. Who knows? I might have been, but I doubt it. But we could say that those kids could walk away saying they met the world. And I mean, there were people there. There were Christians in there for a huge, some Christians from Nigeria. I talked to them for quite a bit while we were there, because they said, "What are you guys doing?" And we told them. They said, "Oh, that's awesome, brother. Praise God." Yeah, brother, it was an open door. God gives a moment. Some people don't have the discernment for the moment. Well, I know that I just felt like, because I was scrambling that morning, and I wanted to be effective with the time that we had. You don't have but people forever, and I wanted them to have the time to grow in their outreach as a youth group. From it was mainly teenagers, but there were a few that were a little bit younger, but mainly teenagers, and also get the gospel out as quickly as possible to a lot of people, and then we could work on those that had questions or wanted to pray or whatever. And we were able to accomplish that. So in that hour, that was an open door, and we were able to do it. And we weren't in trouble. He said, "You're not in trouble." He said, I let you do it. And so I said, to me, God just, held that door open for that time frame. And then even he said, "I hate to shut you down, but I got to." I said, "You're doing your job, and thank you for the time you gave us. To God be the glory." And he said the same thing. And, it was a great interaction. I've been in Atlanta where you didn't have good interactions with law enforcement, but it was a great time that morning. And, but yeah, but be careful where you send your kids, parents. I mean, a lot of crazy stuff going on. Let's see here. Anything else I wanted to, let's see here. From New York Post, 67% of voters say New York's cost of living is out of control. In my understanding, people are leaving by the droves for others. In fact, my sister and brother-in-law, I think, are going to come this way. They've been trying to decide, and he's looking for a tax-free state. So they're not looking to come to Georgia, but they are looking to come to either. Tennessee is a possibility because of they have no state tax. But so 2/3 of state voters believe New York's cost of living is out of control. A new survey released Tuesday found the Siena College poll asked voters if the Empire State's cost of living was on the right track or heading in the wrong direction. Only 27% of the 806 respondents said the cost of living in New York is on the right track. while the other said wrong direction. The dire results cut across partisan and ideological lines. 59% of Democrats, 79% of Republicans, and 71% of independent or non-party affiliated voters said costs in New York are too high. It's amazing they elect what they elect, right? Though, when they say. Meanwhile, in a related question, only 31% of voters said New York was creating enough affordable housing. That is becoming the catchphrase, affordable housing, because in many places it is so out of control. People are being forced into, out of their living. We're seeing the rise of pay by the week motels. Homelessness is on the rise. It's bad things going on out there with this, but people are just not able to afford houses. They're multi-families living in homes now. And it's as bad as it is here. It's nowhere near what it is like in New York. Nearly 70% of Republicans, 2/3 of independents, and a plurality of Democrats agree those housing costs are too blanking high. The majority of New Yorkers, 53%, said reducing crime is headed in the wrong direction. Voters were split on whether New York was providing a quality education, safeguarding the environment, improving the state's transportation infrastructure, and providing access to quality health care. Democrats were more positive than Republicans and independents on these issues. Well, of course, because they have majorities up there. Majority of Democrats think the state is on the right track on 5 issues, but even Democrats agree with Republicans and independents that the state is headed in the wrong direction on housing and cost of living, CNN poster Stephen Greenberg said. Despite voters' views that New York is failing to address the fundamental issues of high cost of living and housing, according to the poll, Kathy Hochul is still in the driver's seat for her reelection bid to win a second 4-year term this fall. She leads Republican nominee Bruce Blakeman. He's the current Nassau County executive, 49% to 33%, with the remainder undecided or preferring someone else. So he's not resonating with the constituency. But, a lot of companies are leaving New York. They are relocating to the south and west with their headquarters and getting out. It's not the only state that's suffering that. Illinois is going through the same thing. See here. I'm sorry. I was trying to see mini post here. Thank you for the comments. And email me if you'd like to get in touch with me. I will look at your. Okay, first let's see. What else? The apostles were locked up for spreading the gospel till they finally killed them for it. And and that's going to continue to happen. You will eat the bugs, live in the pod. You will own nothing and be happy. Well, there's a lot of people like that, believing that. Absolutely. The flip side of sheltering your children is they eventually become aware of warfare and reality as they get older. Most believers just occupy the church and would be lost if they were called to go into all the world with the gospel. Evangelical work is diminishing in many local churches. Truth, absolutely. We've become very lazy in America with evangelism, for sure. New York City deserves Mandami, and they got him, and it's getting uglier by the day for things up there. I saw one of the I forget what the guy's name is. Pretty well known. Was the convoy was coming out of their. I don't know if it was the residence or the office or whatever, and there was a guy out there hollering. Of course he don't care. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see if I want to cover anything else. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Nothing major going on, but we'll see today. I think things will heat up today, continue as we look at the goings on in the Gulf or the Strait, and we'll see what happens with that. I think that's got to be coming to a head. Things are heating up. There is, some elections. Early voting is going on. Obviously, I need to get out and vote, or I could go on election day, but I'll have to get out and vote early if I can. But I'm still researching a couple of people in my area. I hope to have a couple of politicians in and have a talk with them here in Georgia. There's a lady we're going to have on. She's retired Marine. She's running for a special election. I think it was, she said mid-May she could come on. She also wants to highlight some things that are being built up around the state that she's been covering in her social media that are somewhat alarming. And we'll reach back out to her. I had to wait till mid-May. Also, middle of May, we're going to be talking to one of a very old farming family. They go back over 100 years, and they're active and busy. And they wanted to wait until some of their crops were really coming in. They wanted to highlight some of that for it. And I said, absolutely. So we'll be reaching back out to them soon. So we are still working on guests to come on. And wanted to highlight this. They're a really big operation, and they go back, I think, 150 years or something like that. I know it's over 100 years, but I don't remember exactly how much. But that's pretty amazing. They've been farming in that ground for all that time. Farmers are under attack with the rising cost of some of the things that they need for fertilizer and all that. It has become very difficult. We talked about that on the phone when we talked about it, and it is getting worse by the day because of these rising costs. It's very hard to make those margins, and my fear is, going back to your comment there, Watchman, we're going to see more farms close up, sell the land. The land is valuable, but a lot of people want to use it for other things besides farming, and there could be a lot of farms go under through this time. The margins were already thin. I mean, you got to make profit. You can't just keep giving away money. And they've been able to do that, but those margins were narrow. They do it in volume. They're farming a lot of ground, so in volume they can make a good living. But as those things begin to collapse on them in the financial part of it, they'll end up selling out. And that's what I've talked to some farmers, and they said, that's what some of their neighbors have done. They just sold the land. And we know who's buying up some of that land, especially in the Midwest. And it is alarming. It is. I live in a community, even though we're in the northern part of the county, we are, really developed. A lot of people have came over the state line and settled in. But it is still a county that is very much a big farming community. You can go right outside of one of the small towns, and there's a lot of farms right outside the town that you can stop and buy things. It is still very much a farming community, but that is getting less and less as time goes on. Somebody's got to grow this stuff. Well, I mean, I agree with you. If we don't have somewhere to replace it, if they don't get this conflict with Iran stopped, because we do need those fertilizers, it will hurt us. It won't be crippling to us yet, but across Europe and other places that depend on some of that, and they don't have backup sources, it could be colossal, the collapse of some farming communities around the world. Here in America, it is impacting. You just don't see it as much. It is having an effect, and it will get worse. But it's going to impact overseas big time. We read a story about that a couple of weeks ago, where there were a lot of communities that were just not able. They're not going to be able to survive. And in some cases, the governments of those are even, it's almost like they're anti-farming anyway. The Epic Times did a great story once, and they were going and talking to farmers and people that raise cattle, and they absolutely were being forced out of their property by the government. I mean, they wanted to build apartments. They wanted to do more illegal, what we would call illegal immigration, or just bring people in. And these people were being forced out. I mean, they were having to give up half their herds and half their property, and it just became impossible for them to do business. Yes, we do, Watchmen, and we do depend on them. I mean, I don't know if there's a backup source somewhere, but that is a major source. It's not the totality of what we get here, but for some people around the world, it is nearly 100% of what they depend on. So I think you're going to see something. Listen, I don't think this will go on much longer. I really don't. But I do think that I think it will be over soon. I've said that before, but I think they're looking for the exit right now. And if they could get a couple things in place as part of a deal, they would call it a day and pull back. I really believe that. But they're looking for that exit right now. If not, it's going to be full on. And then that's going to get ugly. So I think that they would want that. It's bad on a lot of people. And right now, I think they must feel fairly confident about it because he continues to be supported. And there are some that are getting a little antsy and speaking out more, but he still has a base that's very much supporting him in Congress. And I don't think we're at that point yet. Like I said, if gas goes over across the nation on average over $4 or approaches $5 a gallon, it's going to get people are going to get really upset, and the pressure will be on to end that quicker. So, we'll see. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot at stake here for the world, and it is starting to impact a lot of communities, and they're pushing they want things done too, because I mean, think of the backlog of ships they've escorted like 5 through. There's like several thousand or something like that tankers. I mean, we got it. The crews are reporting that they're low on water and food. So at some point this is going to have to get moving, or you're going to have to be doing food drops on top of tankers and other type of ships that are bringing things out of through that strait. These crews are, they can't make money. I mean, it's crippling economies. So something's got to happen pretty quick. Military leaders warned not to do this. The same with Charlie Kirk. He warned too. Well, like I said, a lot of the president, some of not say a lot. Some of the president's base have left him because they didn't. He pretty much ran on no wars, but I think a lot of people support it because of some other things. So it's a give and take. He's dancing on a fine line right now, and I will say this: his big talk is not going to move this group. They don't care. They've hit them pretty hard. They've done a lot of damage. They just if they could get the agreement on the strait, if they could get an agreement on some sort of inspection, I don't know that they'll ever get the uranium, but if they could get that, or if they get an inspection of it, or I don't think that'll happen. But I think if they could get the strait, maybe a promise of something that they signed to for the 10 or 15 years not to develop nuclear energy, I think the deal would be made. I just think so. Have you seen the food the sailors are being fed? It's disgusting. I haven't seen it, but I know that. I mean, think how long this has been going on. I mean, by now they would have already been across, delivered their cargo, restocked the ship, and moved on. I mean, you just can't. I mean, it's going to get ugly because, this long. They're not made to sit like that. They're made to be moving, and so. He just fires the military leaders that tell him the truth. Well, they've done a lot of that. So we'll see. This heating up, and that's why we can come on and do shows like this and talk about it. But one other article we'll cover real quick, then we do got to get out of here. This is from Fox News, but Trump's grip over GOP tested as state senators defied president challenged in key primaries. Pro-Trump allies have spent more than $6 million to oust Republican state senators who voted against redistricting. It's primary day in Republican-dominated Indiana, where President Donald Trump's immense sway over the GOP is on the line, as his endorsements in key races will be tested. In neighboring Ohio, another right-leaning state, some of Tuesday's top primaries will tee up crucial general election showdowns in November's midterm elections, where Republicans will be defending their slim Senate and razor-thin House majorities. 2 congressional incumbents in Indiana, Republican Representative Jim Baird and Democratic Republican Andre Carson, face serious primary challenges. In Ohio, Republicans will pick from a crowded primary field in the race to face off with a vulnerable Democratic rep, Marcy Kaptur. In Indiana, 5 months ago, the Republicans in the GOP-dominated Indiana State Senate withstood immense pressure from Trump and his allies and voted down congressional redistricting, which would have given solidly red Indiana 2 more right-leaning U.S. House seats ahead of the midterms. Fast forward to today, and 8 of those state senators are facing GOP primary challenges. Seeking retribution, the president endorsed challengers to 7 of the 8 Republican lawmakers who voted against the redistricting bill. The president's allies have shelled out more than $6 million to try to oust the state senators, according to the national ad tracking firm AdImpact. AdImpact, or something like that. Among them in the political fight on behalf of the president are 2 national groups, of course, Turning Point USA's political wing and the Club for Growth. Also leading the charge are Hoosier Leadership for America and American Leadership PAC, which are aligned with GOP Senator Jim Banks, a top Senate ally of the president. Groups are also part of the full court press. The intra-party battle is seen not just as a test to Trump, but rather a fight between MAGA forces and more traditional conservatives for the future of the GOP. So we'll see how that tracks out. Definitely. I agree they'll never get out. I've said it from the beginning. They'll never agree to what all they want. That's why I think there'll be some sort of compromise. Hopefully Vivek isn't the winner of the Republican primary in Ohio. So we'll talk about that tonight. 9 p.m. We'll be back on with PNN News. And let's pick up on some of this as we do. And I've got to get out there today myself before moving on. But thanks for being here this morning. God bless you. Give us a like, follow, share if you've not already done that. We appreciate your support. We'll also do sports tonight. And tomorrow night we have, I don't know if we have an interview or not in our Dirt Report, but we may. So we'll look back. We'll look at that tonight. We've always got things to talk about. That's for sure. Have a great day out there, America. God bless America, and God bless you. You are the wind beneath our wings. I just appreciate your support. Got to see my sister again yesterday, and again, I was telling them last night, she went to the Little Debbie store and got me the Little Debbie coffee mug. That's a nice mug. That's not one of those cheapos right there. That's a nice mug. Watchman says Trump has destroyed America's standing, made us a laughing stock, and bully that acts like mafia/pirates. Okay, nothing else. I thought Brusky had something else. Hey, God bless, man. I appreciate you. Again, I bring the comments because they're all fair. And it is alarming, some of those things that he has done. So we don't want division. We need to stand together because the alternative is not good. But it is turning ugly. And I felt like the final 2 years of the term is going to be very ugly. And I think we're starting to enter into that now, especially with things that are going on. Have a great morning. God bless. And we'll see you tonight, Lord willing. I'm Dave in the AM, a.k.a. the Cornbread Man, and I am out. See ya.